Okay. This Neethi shatakam has been written by Bhartrhari. So he has written three set of 300s. So a set three, one is Sringara shatakam, one is Neethi shatakam, the other is Vairagya shatakam. Most people who are scholars would have studied Neethi shatakam, and if they are aware, they would have studied Vairagya shatakam also. Just on a side note, my first book was Vairagya shatakam. Then only I studied Neethi shatakam. That's rare. Many people would study, even memorize all of the 100 slokas in Neethi shatakam. Those are all like life lessons. You know, it will be applicable at every stage of your life. And the Madri, it's a useful thing to have memorized also. Now, this text, the Vyakhyata is Ramachandra Budhendra, great scholar. He has written the Vyakhyanam for Champu Ramayanam, entirety of Champu Ramayanam also he has written Vyakhyanam. And so I love to read his Vyakhyanam, the way he gives explanations or Vigraha Vakyam. He is one of the Vyakhyata who touches on Alankaras. That's why I love to search for his book and try to read from that. Since we are in Samartha, and the Chittur book is not so great in this. The Chittur book just gives a bhavartha for each shloka. If you look at other, like Kiratarjuniyam, we saw that it gives pratipadartha for the words, whereas for Neethi shatakam, the Chittur book gives only the bhavartham. You can read the bhavartha for tatparyam. That is fine. But if you want to do Pratipadartha on your own, the best is this Vyakhyanam. You simplify even this Vyakhyanam. It is a pleasure to read this Ramachandra Budhendra's language also. He quotes from Amarakosha or Medini Kosha also. That's it. So let's start with the Mangala Slokam today and a little bit about our Bhartrhari. Again, he is also one of the authors about whom we don't know much. There are many rumors, many stories that he was the king for 6 months when Vikramaditya was supposed to be 6 months in the forest. He is Vikramaditya's brother. There were 4 children who were born to a Brahmana. There are too many stories that are tied to Bhartrhari, Vikramaditya, of which we don't know which is true. I'm only saying that they are stories because these are all hearsay stories that we have. Interesting stories also, of course. So there was one Brahmana who was caught by a Brahma Rakshas, and then the Brahma Rakshas gave him Vyakaranam. He wrote everything on a leaf. He was sitting on a tree. He wrote all the Vyakaranam with his blood on a leaf continuously, and he tied it in a bundle. He went to the village nearby, and it was the house of a merchant. He just fell down in front of that merchant's house. The merchant had a young girl. She came out and she saw this person and fell in love with him also. She brought him back to life and said, I want to marry you. He being a Brahmana, and in those days there is this Anuloma Pratiloma marriage concept. A Brahmana can marry only a Brahmana, a Brahmani, a lady. If he has to marry a Vaishya lady, then he has to marry one of each Varna. So he got to marry one of each Varna. This is one of the story. So the first one, the one who was born to a Brahmana is Bhartrhari. The fourth one. Bhatti. Fourth Varna is Bhartrhari. The Vaishya is Amarasimha. Yaru? Bhatti. Bhatti was the first Brahmana's son. So he became the minister of Vikramaditya. Vikramaditya was the son of the Kshatriya girl. So the king of that country, he gave his daughter in marriage to that person. Then Vikramaditya came to the throne, and he used to spend 6 months in the forest and 6 months in the city. So when that happened, the other, that is Bhartrhari, was the one who was ruling for 6 months. There is one story. Bhartrhari was a great poet, but he was not, it shows in the first 2-3 itself that he was not accepted in any community because he was a son of an intercaste marriage, right? So usually when such things happen in those days, they were not readily accepted also. So this is one facet of Bhartrhari that we hear from hearsay stories. But beyond all that, the words that come out of his mouth are just fantastic. Whether it is Neethi shatakam or whether it is Vairagya shatakam. If you read Vairagya shatakam, that one text is enough to understand Advaita Vedanta more practically than any other text. You won't be considered you won't be thinking about Atma, whether it is Satta, Asat, Nitya, all that concepts are gone here. He will introduce Advaita Vedanta in a very practical manner, what we are bound by, how we should work towards it, how bhakti gives us one pathway and all that. He very beautifully, the Vaishya Putraha to Amarasimha iti, he is the one who has written Amarakosha is one rumor again. And he is also probably the Amarasimha who is a sculptor who was one of the 9 gems in Vikramaditya's court. Adhu irkalam. I have no clue as usual. It can be this Amarasimha also. So this Vairagya Shatakam is a different kind of a text, which is a more personal thing, which you read one by one slowly. That's another one. Neethi shatakam is a didactic one, which is like a normal neethis that you talk about. It is divided into 10 paddhatis. Paddhati are 10 by, each paddhati has 10 shlokas. Another thing why I like Ramachandra Budhendra's is there are exactly 100 shlokas with one Mangala Sloka. Each paddhati has 10 shlokas. There is an order to it. If you buy books in Chaukamba or other Hindi books and all, it will be totally haphazard in different ways. One shloka will be found somewhere behind. All that will be there. It will be a bit of a mess. Whereas this, I follow this so that there is that clarity of exam oriented, for exam oriented, when you want to prepare for exam, then this also works. These 10 come within one paddhati. So you can memorize those 10 or know that these are the 10 shlokas that come under this topic. It's very clearly arranged. So as you saw in the there are 10 paddhatis: Murkha paddhati, Vidvat paddhati, Manashaurya paddhati, Artha paddhati, Durjana paddhati, Sujana paddhati, Paropakara paddhatihi, Dhairya paddhati, Daiva paddhati, Karma paddhati. These two will get you a little confused. Paropakara and Dhairya along with Manashaurya will get you confused a little bit. Durjana and Sujana, easy. Murkha and Vidvat paddhati, Artha paddhati. These are all very clear separations. That is, the meaning wise you will know very clearly, okay, this belongs to Murkha paddhati, this belongs to Vidvat paddhati. You will be very clear about that. But with 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, there will always be confusion which shloka belongs to which shloka. So in a way it is okay, you can figure out at some point, or if you confuse 1 or 2 shlokas, it doesn't matter, no problem. Okay, this is with respect to exams, I'm telling you. Another point that I love about Bhartrhari is he is a Shiva Bhakta. So in Vairagya Shatakam, the 80 to 90, I think, 90 to 91, you can say 80 to 100, the last 20 shlokas talk about his outpouring of bhakti to Lord Shiva. It's so beautiful. Summa polambal, Shambho, Shiva, Shankara, the shloka itself will be like that. When will I come to Varanasi and when will I stay there? It's a personal diary kind of work that he has written. Maybe we will read that at some point. So the first shloka here is, he talks about the Parabrahman. Dikkala Dhyanavachinna Ananta. Oh, this is Ramachandra Budhendra's Mangala Sloka. Dikkala Dhyanavachinna Ananta Chinmatra Murtaye Swanubhutyekamanaya Namashantaya Tejase. So everything is in a Chaturthi Vibhakti Atra. Namaha Tejase. Shantaya Tejase. Shantaha Shivaha. Iti Uktam. So in Upanishad and in Vedas you find that Shiva is spoken of as Shanta Swarupa, very different from what we know. We think of Rudra as Shanta. Yeah. Shiva is Shanta, because you will find that Rudra does not even come into the picture until last moment or until it is absolutely necessary. Otherwise, he is the epitome of calmness. Who is the person? He is the person who is always meditating. The pose of Shiva, or he is in an Ananda state, dancing. These are the two states for Parameshwara. Right? So, Shantaya Tejase. Tejase, one who is the light. And he is the most Shanta. Or you take it as the Brahma Swarupam itself. So Brahma Swarupa is a Swayam Prakasha Swarupa. It is the light behind everything in this world. He is the Chaitanya Swarupam. And that Chaitanya Swarupa is Shanta. There is no Indriyas that are there. There are no Chitta Vrittis that are there. That is the Brahma Swarupam cannot be touched by any of the thoughts that are there in the mind or the actions that are performed by the body. None of this are present in the Brahman. Hence, it is like a still water. But it is Prakasha Swarupa. It is not dull water. No? It is Tejas. It is a light which is also very still without the this bada that we எனக்கு அப்படியே வந்து ஒரு இதுவா வருது இல்லையா, அதெல்லாம் ஒண்ணுமே இருக்காது. You will find one. That is how you have to think of Brahma Swarupam. So anybody who gets into that meditative state goes into one trance wherein your thoughts have to be completely nil, and yet you are aware. So that is the state in which Brahman is, and that's why it is a state that you can strive to achieve also, because you will see moments of it in your life as you do meditation or japa, or even when you are just randomly sitting down and thinking about something else, suddenly there will be a pause in your brain wherein nothing occurs in your brain. You have to just extend that, and if it is an Anandam also, then that is that Shanta. So he says Shantaya Brahmane Namaha. Now how do we know about this Brahma Swarupam? Swanubhut Ekamanaya. The only Pramanam, Ekamanam Pramanam is Swa Anubhuti. Vindavar Kandilai Kandavar Vindilaimbo. The one who has experienced the Brahman cannot talk about the Brahman. One who talks about the Brahman has not experienced it. Yeah. So it's natural. That's why you say Swa Anubhuti. One's own experience is the Pramanam for oneself. That's why I said each one of you would have experienced that flickering moment of silence in your life. And imagine that and that would have given you one peace and one happiness. You have to try to extend that. So it becomes important for your experience to be the pramanam for this. So Swa Anubhuti Ekamanaya Brahmane, who is also Dikkaladi Anavachinna Ananta Chinmatra Murtaye. He is a Chinmatram, consciousness which is beyond, or Anavachinna, that which is not confined by Dik, Kala, etc. Now here is where I go into the Vyakhyanam. Dishaha Prachyadi Dik Pradeshaha Kalaha Bhuta Bhavishyad Vartamana Rupaha. These do not exist in Brahman. So when I talk about myself, Visalakshi, who was born in certain time, who will die in certain time, this kind of a time confines this person. And space. So when I am right now here facing east, my face is not to the west, nor am I present in another country. I cannot be in 5 different places. Even if it is a house which has 27 rooms, I can only be in one room, on one chair, or on one bed. That's all. I am confined by my form, and I am also confined by the space that is there. This is the body. If it is the Atma Swarupa has no such limitations. Avachinnaha nama, it is limited. Anavachinnaha nama, it is not limited by dik, by the east, etc. directions. It is, when you travel north, you will find Himalayas, because it is confined to that particular direction from, let's say, South India. But when you travel east, you will find Brahman. Tatha nasti. Brahman is everywhere. He is present in you, in me, in the world. He is the Adhara Bhutam. He is everything. So he is not confined or limited to one particular direction. Kala, Bhuta, Bhavishyat, Vartamana Rupaha, Kalaha, Tatra na Vartante. The Visalakshi that was there 10 years old is not the same as now here. The form, outer form. I'm talking about the entire potlam. That, the package deal. I'm not the same when I was 10, nor am I when compared to what I am now at 50. Right? So there is a big difference there. So that kind of, that has come about because of Kala. Bhuta Kala, Yavvana Kalam, Bhavishyat Kala is when I will be 80, if I am alive. When I will be 80, how would I be? How would my form be? That kind of a confinement is also not there for the Atma Swarupa. It is only there for the body. Palitam, Shiraha, Dashanavihinam, Jatam, Tundam. Adallam solrom. So the transformations that happen to the body is only to the body. It is not to the Atman. So the Brahma Swarupa is not confined by any of this Bhuta, Bhavishyat, Vartamana, Rupaha. It existed. It did not exist between 1976 and 1970. Tatha nasti. So Adipadena Shabda Sangrihitani Vastuni. So the Desha Kala Vastu Paricheda. These are the three confinements that we talk about with respect to objects in the world. So what are these? When I consider an object, let's take a book for example. This particular book came into existence at this year, say 1945, whatever. And it was published in Varanasi, let's say. So there is a particular town associated with it. There is a Desha Paricheda, there is a Kala Paricheda, and the book there is a Vastu Parichedam for it also. The book cannot resemble a computer. It has to be within the framework of its appearance of its rupam. That is the Vastu Paricheda. Like for example, Visalakshi has to be of this format which is confined by this, the outline podrolya. Just as how you draw an outline in a drawing, in the same way there is a particular outline for each and every object in this world. Whereas for Brahman, you cannot give an outline of that sort. It is an abstract entity which is beyond time, space and form. Okay? So Dikkala Adipadena Tatra Vastu Grihyate. Adikku mele you can't go with other, there is no etc. After that, there are only three kinds of paricheda, three kinds of limitations for any object in this world. This Brahman is beyond these three limitations of Desha, Kala and Vastu. So Dikkala the Anavachinna. So Anavachinanda Anyata adala venda. Anavachinna Apariklipta. So Vibhutvat Vibhutvat Nityatvat Ekatvat cha Deshataha Kalataha Vastutaha cha Parichinnaha. Vibhutvat. Vibhu, it is omnipresent. It is present everywhere. Hence, there is no limitation of Desha. Hetu kudukanamulyo. There is a reasoning for that. Nityatvat, because it is eternal, it cannot be confined by a time. Because it is one, single vastu. There is nothing else in this world. Everything is just an illusory appearance on that Brahman. That is why ekatvat vastu parichedaha nasti. So vastutaha aparichinnaha. Is that clear? And ananta aparimita chinmatra murtihi. The form. So what is the form then? How do I understand? There is no end to it. Ananta murtihi. There is no trivida paricheda shunyatvat. Ananta. Since Desha Paricheda is not there, Kala Paricheda is not there, there is no Vastu Paricheda also. It is an endless entity. Ananta Murti. Chinmatra Murti. Akhandatvat. There is no, also Ananta refers to, Naraya Sajatiya Vijatiya Vedamla Sulra. We don't need to go into so much there. Chinmatram is Anandamatra, Anandamayi. चिन्मात्रा ज्ञान घना चिदेक रसरूपा इति ललिता सहस्रनामे अद्लियु इरुक्कु इल्लैया स्तोत्रे वर्तते. So चिदेक रसरूपिणींगर्चे चित् refers to consciousness or existence. Existence is equal to jnanam. So jnana roopam. Anantam refers to anandam, endless bliss. Ananda nale, it is not this momentary joy that we come across when we get one chocolate. That is not ananda. Ananda is with the context of Brahman. When we talk about ananda, it is that endless bliss. Adinalda ananta refers to anandam. Chinmatram refers to jnanam. It is knowledge. It is not something that has to be attained through knowledge, but it is the swarupam of knowledge itself. That's why we say Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. So Sat, existence, Jnanam is knowledge, Ananta, endless. அதுக்கு ஓம்காரானந்த சுவாமிஜி ஒன்று சொல்லுவார் தமிழ்ல அழகா. தூய இருப்பு, தூய உணர்வு இஸ் சித் ஸ்வரூபம். ஏன்னா சாதாரண உணவு இல்லையா, உணர்வு இல்லை, தூய உணர்வு, தூய இருப்பு, தூய அறிவு அப்படிம்பார். சத்தியம் ஞானம் அனந்தம் பிரம்மாங்கிறது. திக்காலாதி அனவத் சின்ன அனந்த சின்மாத்திர மூர்த்தையே ஸ்வானுபூத்யேகமானாய நமசாந்தாய தேஜசே. Now you can believe that he could have written Vairagya Shatakam. The Mangala Sloka itself talks about the Parabrahmam here. So he gives a lot of Shruti Vakyam as a reference here. Shanta na sonne illaya. So the way he interprets it is very beautiful. Shantam is something where none of the thoughts are present. He is not attached to any of the vikaras. There is just one still water madrine. So avidya tatkarya sambandha shunyatvat prasannaya. Shanta refers to clarity. One who is clear without the turbid thoughts of anything that comes because of maya. So maya, tatkaryam, tatsambandham, all of these are not present in this Parabrahmam at all. And he takes references for each one of those words from the Upanishad Vakyam and gives us. So Tejase Jyoti Rupaya Brahmane Namaha. Namaha Prahvi Bhavaha. You're showing your obeisance symbol. Namaskaram to that Brahmaswarupa. So Namaswasti Swaha iti Chaturthi. Atra Mangaladini, Mangalamadhyani, Mangalantani Shastrani Prathante. Usually we say that any shastram we start off, it has to start off with a Mangalam. There should be a Madhya Mangalam. Should be illa. It can have a Madhya Mangalam. It can have a Mangala Antam also. Recently when I was finishing up Mudra Rakshasa, we saw that there is a Mangala Sloka in the beginning, which is about Shiva. Dhanyakeyam sthithate shirasi shashikalati. So the first Mangala Slokam is about Parameshwara. Then the last Bharata Vakyam is about Vishnu and his Varahamurti. In the middle for Madhya Mangalam, he has two shlokas. One is Shiva and then one is Vishnu. There is a propriety that he follows to the T. In fact, even the drama Lakshanas are also very pakka in Mudra Rakshasa. So Mangalanta Adini, Mangalamadhyani, Mangalantani. This is a statement by Bhashyakara, I think. Bhagavad Bhashyakara Vachana Pramanyat. Okay? Because Bhashyakara says this, I think in the context of Dhruvam Apaye Apadanam. In Ashtadhyayi also, the first one is Vriddhi Rajaich. Vriddhi is Mangalam, Valarchi. So any growth, Vriddhi refers to a new, Koranda Poranda Odane Kuda, we say Vriddhi Thitimpo. That Vriddhi is more like a Mangalakaram. So that is the Adi Mangalam for the sutras. Madhya Mangalam is Dhruvam Apaye Apadanam. He takes the fifth vibhakti as the first sutram for the Panchamadhyayam or something. Right? So instead of talking about Prathama vibhakti or even Karmani Dvitiya vibhakti, he talks about Dhruvam Apaye Apadanam as the first Karakam. So that is with Mangala Madhyam in mind that he does Dhruvam. Dhruvam nama Sthiram Mangalam Shivam iti. The end last is the sutram a. Akarastu onkaro akarascha akaraha brahma iti. So brahma swarupasya akaraha eva tasmat mangala antani api shastrani. So shastras have to have first one mangalam. Sometimes there can be a madhya mangalam. There is an anta mangalam also. अत्र आशीर् नमस्क्रिया वस्तु निर्देशो वापि तन्मुखम् इति दण्डिवचनात् दण्डिवचनम् in Kavyadarsha Dandi has not only written Dashakumaracharitam, he has written a Dandi Alankaram in Tamil and a similar Alankara text in Sanskritam called Kavyadarsha. Very simple Anushtup slokas, very beautiful text. Adila he has said Ashir Namaskriya Vastu Nirdeshaha Vapi Tanmukham. A kavyam or any Khandakavyam should start off with the Ashirvadatmaka Mangalam or Namaskriyaatmaka Mangalam or Vastu Nirdeshaha. Ashirvada is, we know, benediction. Namaskriya is Namaskaraha. And then Vastu Nirdesha is what is the important person that we are talking about. If it is a character of the entire text, then Tasya Nirdeshaha. Suchana Atra Diyate iti. So, Atra Namaskara Rupam is said here. And then ante parabrahma smarana lakshanam is given, it seems. Madhye tad ubayatmaka mangala acharitam. Oh, that I didn't know. Okay. So somewhere in the middle there is both when he says adu paakave illa edunu. So these two have to be there. Ubhayatmakam is both Parabrahma and Namaskaratmakam and Ashirvadatmakam, both Vastu Nirdesha. There is an Ubhayatmaka Mangalam somewhere here. That I don't know. But here we see that it is a Namaskaratmaka Mangalam. And then the Alankara here he says is Swabhavuktir Alankara. Vastu Varnanam. The Vastu here is Brahmaswarupa. And the vastunaha yathavad varnanam vartate. However, the object has been described as this is what it is. If its swabhava, if its nature is described, then the alankara is swabhavoktir alankara. Swabhavoktir asaucharu yathavad vastu varnanam. Vastunaha varnanam tu yathavad vartate. Truth, true to its nature. If a description is given, here a description of Brahmaswarupa is given very beautifully. So it is a Swabhavokti Alankara also and a Namaskaratmaka Mangala. Dikkala Yनवच Chinna Ananta Chinmatra Murtaye Swanubhutyekamanaya Namashantaya Tejase.